makeup, waiting on today to be done, waiting for tomorrow to come. Still waiting on leaders to lead us. Other half praying steady, waiting on Jesus. Waiting for death to come and greet us. It's cold in the winter, still we waiting on the heat.
I'm Charmaine Jefferson. I'm the Executive Director of the California African American Museum. People of color, and particularly for Black people of color, gathering our history, whether it's in art form, document form, book form, photographic form, is something that we have to do urgently, because we have generations of people who were both the closest to those who were slaves and beyond that are not going to be with us anymore.
My name is Dr. Christopher Jimenez West. I am the first African-American male in the 125-year history of the university to receive a PhD in history. In the blood means in the historic moment that African-Americans have been a part of what becomes known as the cowboy tradition from its beginnings. If in the contemporary moment we're then using that as a reference back to the cowboy experience, it is to help, I think, particularly young African Americans recognize that which is the West, and in particular the subset of the cowboy experience, is not foreign to them.
These are the kinds of experiences as a young child that it's really critical for me as a parent to expose my child to. And in a sense it is every bit as, because it has to do with ritual. It has to do with ritual, and it is every bit as important as going to church, any other ritual that I could think that I would wish to expose my child to. This is one of those experiences.
I think when a young person walks away, I hope that I stopped, this place stopped, and remembered that they haven't had the same experience that maybe I had. So what may seem like old news to me is new news to them. How do I get them to know that it means something to them? How do I get them to understand that there's some value or connection between the two? That's what we spend our time trying to do here.
The other day, a guy asked me, what does the phrase "in the blood" mean to you personally? And I was thinking, I really couldn't come up with anything. I went home that night and I had this dream.
I hope I didn't cause dishonor. As a little young, experiment with marijuana. As a little shorty, acting naughty, sipping 40s, just trying to follow paths of the ones that came before me. Looked up to them, couldn't help but idolize them. Wanted to imitate them, we wanted to be just like them. Running rampant, hit the semen as a delinquent. The meanest was misdemeanors, trying to avoid the precincts. Couldn't avoid even to getting in trouble frequent. Running around, drinking, smoking, hustling out this weekend. Don't know what it was, but them streets was like a beacon, and I was the ship. Lost at sea every single evening. Elders talking wisdom, but I wasn't trying to hear it. Telling me to come to church and I might catch the Holy Spirit. Come hear the Reverend as he preaches holy lyrics. Said I heard his holy words, but I really didn't feel it. So pray for me.
You pray for me, Mama. Will you pray for me? So will you pray for me, Mama? Will you pray for me?
And I had this dream. I mean, what if something really happened to my wife and I had to take care of my stepdaughter? I mean, it's important for me to build some type of a relationship with her. I mean, so I went and found out more about what she liked. And she said, I like horses. I'm like, horses? Out of all the things in the world, I would never think she would say horses.
It ain't easy. Hey, it ain't easy. Oh, sun up till sundown, we'll be grinding. sun pops up and the rooster crows. Grab my boots and my clothes and I'm out.
I'm like horses.
Check out my watch, 11 o'clock. We in the spot, making it pop, we make it hot. One in the mill, chasing the bill, in it for thrills. Son on the real, y'all know the deal. Y'all heard of me, R to the E, Y to the N, into the Y, that's where I be. MCIB, epitome. Pens blend words, paint pictures vividly. Accompany my rhymes with timpani, sometimes divine lines, my soliloquy. The feats I bequeath on sheets of loose leaf, they chic, magnifique. Mwah, I creep from beneath, the tones I bespeak, presence is beseech. I'm the MC creeping on your souls, I'm that MC keeping you on your toes. Don't be sleeping on your foes, leave you leaking by the road, freezing in the cold. Hood near you, likely to find me. I dine on whack rappers with a nice Chianti and some fava beans. I reign supreme, whether it's in reality or inside your dreams. The coppers, they watch us, they pop us and knock us stuff. Products and crotches and down in our pockets to make modest profits to get out the projects. There's rumors and gossips, I'm failing the process. If you need it, I got it. You want it, I get it. You take it and split it. We breathe it and live it. Please don't forget it. Banging for freedom while whipping the BM and spending per diem. Starting the AM, ending the PM. Popping them bottles and watching the models. Hands on the throttle, feeling colossal. This is how I do. Automobiles and order my meals from up on the hill. All them more ill, sun on the grill. Living it lavish and getting his cabbage. Designer fabrics, canary carrots, dough in the mattress. Hate it or love it, but I rise above it. The haters, they want it, they look at the budget, stick to their stomach. Beggars and choosers and winners and losers, shakers and movers and tokens and doers. Pick which one you are. Talk about digits and homie, I'm with it. There's nothing, forget it, I'm trying to get it. Just give me a minute, or give me a second. Cause since adolescence, learned that lessons prove to be blessings. No time for guessing.
The rain flow, he's putting it down from the heart to your soul. Somebody scream, hail to the lyrical king. It rains, he reigns, it's rain, let the rain flow. His freestyle is genius, spitting rhymes that redeem us. Say it loud.
So sick with it.
High like sky, I'm flying free.
Break it down for me. What is it, huh?
Rainology. Rainology. The rhymes, the flow that speaks to me.
I get it in, baby.
High like sky, I'm flying free.
So sick with it.
Break it down.
Break it. Break it down for me. What? Come on. That's that rainology, boy.
The smartest thing I think I ever did was purchase those stables. I'm a firm believer in ownership. Own this brownstone here, art gallery. I remember the first time I brought my stepdaughter to the stable. I didn't tell her that I had purchased the stable. Tell her let's go on there. It was a surprise. So the first thing she says is, oh God, it stinks. It actually did smell. It smelled like hay, horse manure, and that Indian Joe comes up and shows us around. So he teaches us how to saddle a horse, put the reins on the horse. And as we're brushing the horse off, dust is popping off the back of the horse. You can smell the horse manure and hay. I got this feeling what it must have been like back in the 1800s when they didn't have cars, motorcycles, buses. And I felt this connection
was at the end, a dead end, or the state
I might
pen.
have had somebody
You can either be a
back
doctor,
in those
lawyer,
days
or
that
a
owned
teacher.
a stable.
The fast life,
Part of
exactly
horses.
that. It can be going just like
And I thought
that.
about the connection that
And you can't get it back
developed
because
with my
once it's
stepmother.
gone, young man, that's a
You know,
wrap. One chance
this is a good opportunity to understand that you don't have to just work in the stable.
You know how to act.
You can actually
Hard
own
for you
a stable.
because the skin is
And I think it
black.
will also teach you that you don't have to just get a job. That you can actually grow up, own something, and give out the jobs.
Back to the pawn shop. It's hard, man, waiting for my dreams to drop. I'm broke as hell, so ain't for sale. Or I can tell I ain't living well. Then pawn my rings, pawn my chain. Running out of these material things. Thought about hitting the block, but can't risk getting knocked. Same stuff non-stop.
Mary Fields, aka Stagecoach Mary, she was born a slave in Tennessee in 1833. In her 60s, Fields became a legend as a stagecoach driver for the U.S. government. She dressed as a man and fiercely shot anyone who got in her way. She retired to Cascade, Montana, where she died in 1914.
Bill Pickett. This legendary rodeo cowboy was born in 1870 in Travis, Texas. He was the originator of the sport of bulldogging, the art of bringing half-ton steer to their knees. Pickett also became a sensation in England and France. He was killed in Oklahoma in 1932 from a kick in the head by a wild horse.
Clara Brown. A slave born in Virginia in 1800, Brown walked a staggering 600 miles to Colorado behind a wagon train after her family was sold, where she amassed a fortune selling claims to gold rush miners. Brown died in 1885 in Denver. Mary Ellen Pleasant. This pioneer and abolitionist was born in 1814 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She opened the first boarding house in San Francisco and led slaves to freedom as part of the Underground Railroad. Mary Ellen Pleasant died in San Francisco in 1904.
Bass Reeves. In 1824 in Paris, Texas, Bass Reeves was born the child of slaves. He escaped to Indian Territory for freedom and was the first black commissioned U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River. At 83 years old, he became a police officer. Reeves died in 1910 in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Bose Icard. In 1843, Bose Icard was born a slave in Mississippi. After the Civil War, he became a well-known Texas frontiersman and trailblazer. At a time when Indian attacks were common, Icard settled in Weatherford, Texas, married and had 15 children. He died in 1929 in Austin. Nat Love. Nat Love was born a slave in 1854 in Tennessee. Nicknamed Deadwood Dick after the South Dakota rodeo town, he was a champion roper of wild stallions. He became famous for writing his autobiography about 20 years of life as a cowboy on the open range. After the railroad revolutionized the West, Nat Love became a Pullman porter. He died in 1921 in Los Angeles, California.
Biddy Mason. Born a slave in Georgia in 1818, she became a successful midwife and one of the first black women to own property in Los Angeles. Her home was a refuge for the poor of all races and eventually became a church. Biddy Mason died in 1891 in California.
Ned Huddleston took the name Isom Dart to hide his identity from the law. Born a slave in Arkansas in 1849, he obtained his freedom by escaping to Mexico. Huddleston became an infamous cattle rustler and was shot to death by fellow rustler Tom Horn in 1900.
In the context of the American, in 1870, 1880, African American folks were getting lynched in the South, where the majority of African Americans live. I think what is unique about the West is for African American men and women to be entrepreneurs, independent, out of the control of then cotton plantation owners, out of the control of the South, out of control of small sheriffs is unique. If we just focus in on Reconstruction America and see that that place, meaning the South, defined the African American experience, then we lose this whole body of knowledge about that black folks independently, 1870, stand up and say, there is a business opportunity here and I'm going to take it at the risk of their life. So meaning when Stagecoach Mary had her shotgun and is sitting on top of her stagecoach, you knew that she was going to lead you through safely, because in previous experiences, when somebody attacked, she could take them out at 150 yards in a moving target, in a moving stagecoach, in the chest.
Buffalo soldier Henry O. Flipper, 2nd Lieutenant of the 10th Cavalry, was the first African-American graduate of the U.S. Military Academy, West Point, class of 1877. Veterans of World War II were part of the Buffalo Soldiers. A Buffalo soldier's duties included guarding U.S. mail, escorting stagecoaches, cattle drives, and building railroads and telegraph lines. The Buffalo Soldiers patrolled the vast territories of the Rio Grande, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. On September 6, 2005, Mark Matthews, the oldest living Buffalo soldier, died at the age of 111. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Cathay Williams disguised herself as a man and served as a Buffalo soldier from 1866 to 1868. 23 Buffalo soldiers earned the Medal of Honor, the highest award for bravery and service to the U.S., more than any other unit in the Army. Despite prejudice, the worst horses, worst clothes, and equipment, the Buffalo Soldiers had the lowest desertion of any unit in the Army. The motto of the 9th Cavalry of the Buffalo Soldiers, which was formed in New Orleans, Louisiana, was, "We can, we will." The 10th Cavalry of the Buffalo Soldiers was started in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Their motto was, "Ready and Forward." Buffalo soldiers earned $13 a month, plus room, board, and clothing.
Buffalo Soldiers came into existence in 1866. Congress decided that what we're going to do with all these African Americans who had fought in the Civil War. They decided they'd start what's known as the 9th and 10th Cavalry, which would consist mostly of African Americans who had fought in the Civil War. And they put them together and sent them out to the West. When the American Indian first saw them in Oklahoma, the Plains Indian named them the Buffalo, because they looked, some says they looked like their hair was matted like the buffalo. But after a while, they began to realize that their tenacity and the courage with which they fought was eminent of the buffalo. So they gave him that name with honor. And a lot of the troopers carried that, so it didn't matter if he was cavalry or infantry in the West, he was known as Buffalo Soldiers. And you look in history at Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders charging up San Juan Hill, those little Kettle Hill. Roosevelt saw what the black troopers was doing. He jumped up and grabbed his Rough Riders and came up the hill with them. But when they got to the top of the hill and won the battle, he looked at Pershing, who was the leader at that time, and said, "Your troops did good, you're relieved." So when they walked off the hill, the picture you got of seeing Roosevelt on San Juan Hill with all the troopers, you saw no African American, because he'd already sent them off the hill.
This is a piece by Ed Dwight, and it's actually a battle in the Dakota Territory. And what it chronicles is the 9th and 10th Cavalry, which became known as the Buffalo Soldiers. As you can see here, the artist's name is inscribed at the bottom in 1978, and what Dwight's trying to chronicle is the experience of African Americans serving in mounted cavalry in the period from 1866, when they are first commissioned, through 1941-42, when the Buffalo Soldiers, as an official unit of the U.S. Army, are decommissioned at the beginning of World War II.
Hardly here, it's like he's hardly here. So we feel forsaken, although we are mistaken. We carry on like we alone in the situations. When push comes to shove, I'ma push, I'ma shove. I can beg, I can plead, or I can take what I need. It's like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'll be damned when I do, cause I'll be damned. My pesos, bow, bow, my pesos, bow, my pesos, bow, bow, my pesos, bow, my pesos.
People like Bill Pickett are making decisions on their own about their lives, undefined by the white experience. And in fact, they are central to the growth of the West.
This comes out of a whole tradition having to do with, well, I guess for want of a better term, the black cowboy, the black presence in the Old West. This is part of a whole tradition. Glenn and I were talking a little earlier about the fact that, for instance, this is called the Bill Pickett Rodeo. There's never been any story of any significance about Bill Pickett. This is an extremely important American, an extremely important part of American history and American culture. And this is a man, and as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but a few years ago there was a stamp, a Bill Pickett stamp, and the first stamp had an incorrect image. It was not Bill Pickett. It was his brother. It was his brother. That's how disconnected. I mean, they caught it. Thank God it was corrected. But in a sense, that's indicative of a certain kind of ignorance, lack of knowledge of this person and his contribution to American culture.
Because of this rodeo, history books are now being changed because the history books never tell you about the real truth of the frontier, how the frontier was opened up, who were really a part of it. When you watch TV, you watch all of the other quote-unquote cowboys and cowgirls, but you don't see the black cowboy and cowgirl in the roles that they actually played. Chicago was actually discovered by a black cowboy. The Lewis and Clark expedition was actually led by a black scout. Stagecoach Mary, they call her Black Mary, was one of the most aggressive mule skinners, trailblazers, mail carriers that ever lived, but you never hear about her. She stood 6 foot tall, about 220 pounds, could outfight most men in the West. Deadwood Dick. All of these legendary people that you never hear about in the history books are people that really made it possible for the West to be opened up. And unfortunately, the history books just don't show it. African Americans don't even know the history of the black cowboy and the black cowgirl as it relates to opening up the West.
I've been struck by a couple of things. One, that there's no African American faces there. But two, there's no even reference to cowboys as being anything else than white Americans, which isn't a problem. Of course, they were part of the mix of folks who actually served as cowboys, but there's no Native American cowboys, despite the fact that they were central. There's no Mexican vaqueros, despite the fact that they were teachers for many of the cowboys. And there's certainly no African Americans.
It's all about the tradition and a tradition of humanity. And it's to be exposed to and to share. I'll tell you one thing. One of the first things that occurred to me after being here for a few minutes, my son would love this. My 4-year-old would love this.
For a long time, historically, black cowboys have been non-existent. You look at old John Wayne movies and some of the old black and white westerns, there are no black cowboys. There are hardly any Mexicans or hardly any vaqueros. And the reality of it is that we're learning now that one out of every cowboy that went up the trail was in fact a cowboy of color.
Cowboy, to me, is black. It ain't John Wayne, it's black, because that's where it came from.
And they never showed a black man riding a horse, let alone being a cowboy. So I didn't grow up acknowledging African Americans as cowboys, are heroes of the United States, which in fact they are. They play a part in that.
I didn't understand what rodeo was, so to me, when they first said a black rodeo, it was like any other event to me. It was a special event, and I didn't understand the magnitude of it. Now I understand that it's not just a black rodeo. It's an event that dispels myths that are out there that there were no black cowboys, that there were no black cowgirls.
And so it's one other way that in the ways that our youth receive information, that if they're flashing through the channels, that if there's no context, they just simply assume African Americans have nothing to do with motorcycles, that's a white thing. African Americans have nothing to do with rodeo, it's a white thing. African Americans have nothing to do with country music, that's a white thing. Not understanding that on all these now culturally defined, geographically situated in the southern United States, is that these are uniquely American cultural expressions that African Americans have nothing to do with them, when in fact they were central to each. The American experience and the African American experience and African American history is central to American culture.
The passion for me is watching every single solitary cowboy and cowgirl out there, because I know what they go through. They give them 100% of a show, no matter how hurt they are, and trust me, 90% of the time, anybody you see out there in the arena is performing hurt, because they've been hurt in another incident. Bull riders get strapped up, they get taped up, they be riding with broken jaws, they be riding with broke ribs. I'm passionate because these are people that mean what they do.
The RCA is the Professional Cowboy Rodeo Association, and of which Fred Whitfield, as you may or may not know, is the reigning cowboy for the last 3 years in a row, and he's a black man. And he started here in the Black Rodeo, you know. And so this has been a very groundbreaking and historical event in itself, and what it provides for those who have that dream and those aspirations.
Here's a guy right here that 6 years ago, he started coming with his auntie, Stephanie Haynes, who's phenomenal. She's won more titles than any other people in the steer and decorating. But Dion right here, when he come to stay with his auntie, he didn't have a clue what was going on. He just wanted to come and be part of the rodeo. And I'm telling you what, in the 4 or 5 years that he's been riding a horse, you'll see him tonight in the barrel racing. This guy right here has changed all aspects of riding horses.
I would say the most important part is just seeing people that are actually interested. You know, I didn't expect to see so many people here at this rodeo, because I wasn't aware of that many black cowboys or cowgirls, for that matter, that were in California, maybe in Texas, but even then, far and few in between. So to see this many people showing up lets me know that a lot of people are interested in the same thing I am, and knowing that blacks have been able to participate in occupations that we didn't acknowledge before, like being cowboys.
In the blood means in the historic moment that African Americans have been a part of what becomes known as the cowboy tradition from its beginnings.
You mother suckers ain't ready. My 808s be so heavy. Keep my speakers banging steady. Raining on them like confetti.
Who's the lyrical king? I came with a lyrical dream, with a lyrical scheme, with a lyrical beam. One shot, empty the scene, hit your team, make them lean like a fiend. I got mad beats longer than rap sheets. The 3-time fellas that's creeping through the back streets. I'ma pass y'all, look where I'm at, Paul, producer, the rap star. Now I'ma smash y'all. Even realer than most, but why boast? The state my mind is in ain't even on the coast. Cause I'm much more clever, whatever. Brave any weather, promote my endeavor. Y'all in my business, you're phony and vicious. So I keep my distance. What's happening? What is this? And I get relentless and you get offended, and we can just end it. I lose my religious. So who is he? Dude gets busy. I-double-L and it ain't no mystery. Tearing down stadiums, got them all hating them. Give you hip hop, have you dancing like Savion. I ain't weak, dug so deep from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet. Y'all don't sleep, cause you'll be meat for the beast before the sunrise in the east. From the same murderous streets with his murderous creeps, and we broke and we starving to eat. A soldier trying to cash in like Hauser. Push till I sit on the couch with Oprah. Or I'm on a poster, billboard lord. Speaking tongues mightier than the sword. Names on the atlas, crushing the average. So pump the volume, spread this to the masses. Radio, radio, radio. Keep it coming through your stereo, stereo, stereo. Turn up the speakers on your radio, radio, radio. Keep it pumping through your stereo, stereo, stereo.
If they dig a little deep into their history, a grandfather, a great-grandfather, who in some way, shape, or form was a part of and or experienced the West as a cowboy.
Some say I get it from my pappy. When I grow up and snappy, shorty with daddy, no push of daddy. DJs playing, MCs battling, the beats keep banging and my trunk keep rattling. Haters keep hating, really don't matter when the shots keep ringing and the people keep scattering. Pedal to the metal, roll with the rebel, dance with the devil, can't stand on my level. Money talks, no mumbo jumbo. Roy TC came from the slum, no. King Kong Ho, king of the jungle. Some folks slick don't want to rumble. Been a renegade, never been afraid. Some imitate but can't duplicate. When the lights turn dimmer, saints turn sinners. Can't lose when you roll with a winner. There's none identical, not reach my pinnacle. Been once a spot dog, I'm just passing through. Who you again? Me and my hooligans, welfare, break bread, love, spread a hula hands. Bags of riches, got too big for my bridges. Tying up my fingers, had to add up some digits. Massive, passive, homie, as if. Too candid and Rambo shit. Ridicule, minuscule, I ain't even hearing you. iPod down too loud, not feeling you. Propaganda, panorama, news reporters, and the cameras. Hot versus crib when I was standing. Everything, skylines, skyscrapers, high rise, high haters, all paper, that's me. I eat, check, chase, on the grind too. Shine might blind you. Dog, I ain't think about you, I never mind you. Radio, radio.
Hopefully what it does for them is give them a sense of that, not in some cliched way, but in some real tangible way, that I am a part of that. Not in a way of claiming it as something else to claim, but in some very real way that this component of the American experience is also a part of my personal narrative.
There are stories to be told about the way we interact both with ourselves and with others, the influences that we've had on the world. So I'm hoping when someone comes in here, because at any given moment you could come in and see a different exhibit than the one you saw 3 months before or 4 months before. So we're an experience that is always going to be changing.
Student loans, food, home, did it by yourself cause you've been on your own, all alone. Innocence lost is so imminent when you can't get up and you feel impotent. Use your inner strength to fuel your intent. Be a leader, not a follower. The choices you make, they will follow you. Easy come, easy go, the easy road, the easy dough is patrolled by Popo. Was at the end, a dead end, or the state pen? Choose neither, you can either be a doctor, lawyer, or a teacher. The fast life, exactly that. It could be gone just like that. And you can't get it back, cause once it's gone, young man, that's a wrap. One chance, that's a fact. The glitz of glamour over there, that's a trap. Prove you know how to act. Harder for you because the skin is black. Keep your head up, it's gonna get better. No matter what, don't ever give up without a fight. You scratch and bite, you push and shove with all your might. You can see it, you can be it. If you want it, then go get it. Don't let it discourage, let your courage flourish, rise to the surface. Come back for more, they knock you down. Came too far to stop you now. Next thing you know, you look